Welcome! This is MCG Tech with a review of the MSI GTX 650. Before we get into the video, I just wanted to let you guys know I set up an Amazon affiliate link. By using this link to purchase products, I get a little kickback without changing the price of the object you bought. I put several hours into making YouTube videos every week, so I'd really appreciate it if you guys help me out. Returning back to the video, the GTX 650 was released on September 13th, 2012. You may recognize this card from my $20 computer build where this card was showcased. However, in that video, the card never reached its full potential. Featuring 1GB of GDDR5 RAM and DirectX 12 support, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from this card. Although I do suspect the 1GB of RAM will be an issue at higher settings, at lower settings, I think this card will perform decently. Without further ado, let's get into synthetics. Starting with Blender, I ran the quick benchmark, but it crashed every time I attempted to run it. Throughout the rest of this review, keep in mind the test bench specs include a FX 8120, 16GB of DDR3 RAM, and a 500W power supply. Next, I ran the OpenGL test on Cinebench R15. This card scored 51.03 FPS, which places it slightly below the GTX 560 I tested in a previous video. I then ran the compute benchmark on Geekbench utilizing the OpenCL API. The GTX 650 scored 22,589. The 650 scored 1,961 in the 3D graphics test in Passmark, which means it is in the 53rd percentile. I ran the Unigine Heaven benchmark at high settings while using the DirectX 11 API, leading to a score of 577 and an average FPS of 22.9. For my final synthetic, I ran Unigine Superposition at medium settings, leading to a score of 1,517 and an average FPS of 11.35 while reaching a max of 51 degrees Celsius. Transitioning over to games, I played Fortnite. I tested this game all the way up to epic settings, although I would really only consider it playable at medium and low. Altogether, FPS was fairly consistent and I did not experience too much stuttering. Apex Legends did decently at low settings with a 47 FPS average. This card did struggle at higher settings, but for its price point and VRAM capacity, this was expected. The CSGO benchmark map ran great on this card, maintaining an above 60 FPS average at all settings. Surprisingly, smoke grenades and explosions did not lead to substantial dips in FPS. One game that did suffer was Resident Evil 2. Even at low settings, this title was simply not playable, with its 17 FPS average. Subnautica performed well on the GTX 650 at low settings, but took a massive hit in performance at medium. Typically, the disparity between the minimum and average was negligible, so the game felt very fluid. Finally, I tested Rocket League, which ran very well on this computer. In spite of the fact that the GTX 650 couldn't reach 60 FPS at high settings, it was still definitely an enjoyable playing experience. To conclude, I wouldn't recommend this card to anyone nowadays. The 1GB of RAM is a real limitation for games at medium and high settings. To add to this, these cards seem to be selling for around $35 on eBay, which is too much for what you are getting. If you are looking for an alternative, better value card, I suggest joining the MCG Tech Discord so we can figure out what card makes the most sense for your budget and specific use case. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to check out the rest of the content on this channel. Thank you for watching.